Hello there everyone, welcome to the channel. Today's video is about ADHD and self-worth. Oh, it makes me shiver just trying to think about that. Why achievement never feels enough. Why your greatest achievement feel like other people's failures. Why someone with ADHD can just achieve so much stuff in a day and still feel utterly worthless. So let's get to it. Title of the first section is, what is self-worth? Self-worth isn't about how well you do the washing or how early you got up or how tidy your house is. It's about something much deeper than that. Do you feel worthy of being alive? That's what self-worth is. If you feel worthy of being alive, you have got a good degree of self-worth. Me, I've struggled with that for my entire life because my life has always been a struggle. I don't necessarily feel worthy on a day-to-day basis of the gift of life that I've been given. Only you can measure this. This isn't something that someone else can measure. This isn't something that I can say. If you were to give me a list and say, oh yeah, I do this, I can't say, yeah, that's well worth it, because from the outside, most people's lives look like they're full. For me, my self-worth is unfortunately very much external, not necessarily my achievements, not necessarily what I own, what I have, what I've done, but more external. The trouble with ADHD people is we can do loads and loads of stuff in a day and still feel like it's not enough. Why? Because our brains focus on negative outcomes. Nature did that to everybody, right? The thing with a negative outcome is it's more powerful than a positive one. So this is your negative outcome and this is your positive outcome. You will remember by nature the time you escaped from nearly getting eaten by a tiger. You won't necessarily remember by nature the party that your tribe had that evening because you escaped from that tiger. One of the classics, one of the things that has destroyed my self-worth over time is the line that I'm sure anyone, especially people of my age that were schooled through the 70s and 80s, have heard a thousand times. If only you'd try harder. If only you'd try harder, Robert. You're such a smart lad. Why do you misbehave all the time? Why do you do this? To which I used to respond, I don't know. I've heard that from age 6 to adulthood. It sticks, it shapes self-worth, follows us right through into our older age, right into my age. Shit, I nearly said old age then. I'm not old, I'm only 54. The guilt soundtrack doesn't switch off, and guilt is something that hits me hard. If I think back to one of 1,000 situations I've been in and I think to myself, I could have done a better job there, that really hits me. Having ADHD means I'm very quick to respond, very quick to answer, very quick to react, and then I feel guilty for it later. That's just a pattern that's occurred in my life over and over again. It's quite a big struggle for me at the minute because what we're splitting with the wife, there was a lot of things that I did when I was with her that I shouldn't have done, that I could have done so much better. So I feel quite a heavy weight of guilt on me each and every day. But I can't really speak for other people, but other people that I've spoken to that have ADHD do struggle with guilt. Why? We can't feel our wins. In another video, I told you about the girl that used to live around the corner telling me, wow, you've done so much today. You should just go in and sit down and have a cup of tea. I didn't feel like I'd won that day. ADHD people, as far as I'm aware, don't celebrate success properly. We focus more on our fuck-ups than we do on our successes. And I think that's a lot of the issue, especially with me personally. I can't speak for you. I started journaling a long time ago and I was told to journal, what good thing did I do today? And honestly, at first I couldn't find anything. Couldn't find anything. And I would sit in bed next to my wife and say, what have I done that's good today? And she would look at me and tell me this, tell me that. Well, you did the washing up and you did the hoovering and you did this. You know, and I was like, that's just pathetic. That's not a thing to celebrate. That's just normal things. Normal people reward themselves for washing up. Normal people reward themselves for doing the hoovering. Normal people reward themselves for just, you know, if they manage to do the housework in a day, they feel perfectly complete and they'll sit down for the rest of the day and do nothing. We punish ourselves because we didn't do the washing up fast enough, or because we left a bit of bacon on a dish, or we didn't do it earlier, or we didn't do it better, because our reward system is utterly broken. Okay, our reward system is broken. Yeah, you know that, I know that, you definitely know that, and I definitely know that. Why? How? It's dopamine. We measure ourselves using neurotypical systems, so that will generally make us feel like losers compared to the rest of the people, and that is something I've struggled with my whole life. ADHD gets dopamine from the chase, it gets dopamine from novelty, urgency, interest, pressure. You've all left tasks till the last minute to do them and you just piss through them like they weren't even there, like it was just like nothing, and you'd put that off for days and days and days. Well, that's what that is. You need to be under pressure to work properly, and when we're put under pressure, that is when we shine like the brightest light in anyone's life. So finishing something is a big anti-climax, and that leads us to a point where we just don't give ourselves any kind of reward. So if you're going to reward yourself, reward the result and try and get into a habit of when you've completed a task, reward yourself something. Chocolate, have a piece of chocolate, have a cup of tea, have a sit down for 10 minutes and just stare at a tree when moving in the wind. Anything, any reward you can think of, whatever your reward is. Never rush straight into the next project. Just sit down and savor in the fact that you just completed a task and it's done and you don't have to do it again. Why we see ourselves as frauds. I don't see myself as a fraud, to be brutally honest with you. But from the outside, we look confident, funny, productive, driving nice cars, doing hobbies, busy social lives. Inside, it's fucking chaos and luck. It's literally chaos and luck. We try it 7 times, we might get it right once. That's where we look good. People don't see the 6 failures. You do. I tend to believe that everything that I've achieved has happened by accident. I still struggle every day with that. I call it imposter syndrome. I'm not really the man that took lofty ladders from a small, tiny business and turned it into what it is now. I mean, it's not a giant business now, but it's a lot bigger and turns over a lot more than it did before. It just it's a bunch of accidents together and some luck that turned it into what it is. The fact that I've got a bike sitting out there just feels like luck to me. My recent troubles have led me to buy an off-road vehicle that I hated. Almost as soon as I drove the vehicle home, I didn't want it anymore, and I sold it, and I lost a massive chunk of money on it. And it's decisions like that that really make it difficult for me to keep moving forward sometimes. The imposter syndrome thing I'm talking about is basically what it boils down to: chaos and luck. I've tried so many times that eventually something works, and that's not luck, that's grinding. That's the same as playing World of Warcraft and, killing fucking sheep, and you need to collect sheep tails, but every sheep you kill has got a tail, but only 1 in 7 has actually got a tail on it as a drop. That's what ADHD feels like to me. I try and do this and I fail. I try and do it again, I fail. I change my tactics, I try again, I fail. I change my tactics again, I try again, I fail. And I tried so many times and changed my tactics so many times that I've got no one little chunk of information to learn from, to carry with me to the next decision. We have to base our rewards on the results, not the path. I said earlier about negative memory storage and bias. Humans are designed to store negative memories better than positive ones. It's basically survival wiring, like I said earlier. For ADHD, that bias becomes brutal. Good news just fades. Bad memories take over, fill your mind. Failures just go round and round and round in your head for years and years and years and years and years and years. Good memories cause pain and suffering as well, especially if there's loss around that good memory or grief. That pulls the self-worth out of you. Any self-worth that I had when I woke up this morning can be snatched away from me in seconds by this super double turbo top fuel V8 sitting in my head, and I can end up having to start again 2 or 3 times a day, reminding myself that I have achieved things, that I am a good person, that I am moving forward with my life. When those old failures come back to haunt you for the 14,325th time, you need to do something about it. You need to get up, you need to move, you need to do something, you need to get away from where you are now. You need to give your mind something else to focus on. Don't sit and let them rule you. I had a few hours on my own when my brother went on a boat tour over the weekend. So I was sitting in Spain on a beach in the sunshine. And that was basically a constant battle with those reminders of low self-worth coming back over and over again. Reminders of mistakes, reminders of everything bad. So I did this. I stood up and I walked forwards and I walked into the sea and I let the sea wrap around my feet. And that made it past. But it took me at least 45 minutes, maybe even an hour, to get myself in a position where I was capable of non-self-destructive thought, to be able to get up and move to the water to do this. So how do you protect self-worth? This is how. There's a list. Journal wins daily. Celebrate tiny tasks. Good enough is good enough. Build identity outside of productivity. Talk kindly to yourself now and then, as often as possible. Everyone else does. Everyone else is talking kindly to themselves. You're sitting there shit-talking yourself 24/7. You're not doing it. This is doing it. And you have to control this thing the same as I do. Slow down when you've had a success. If you've done the hoovering, sit down for 5 minutes before you move on to the washing up. Your self-worth needs nurturing. It needs growing. My mentors, my business mentors, and my ADHD coach says, you can achieve if you believe. Now, personally, I've always thought that was bullshit, but I understand the basic premise behind it. If you believe in yourself, you can do things that you don't necessarily think you can. So your self-worth needs nurturing. It needs kindness and love. You're not broken, you're just wired up different, but the world can make it feel like you're very broken. It has done for me for far too long, and I'd really like a break from it, but that's not going to happen, so I just have to keep going. Well, at this point, apparently, roughly 4 in every 100 adults in the UK have ADHD, so it's very common. It's because there's so many humans now, so you're not alone at all. I mean, look at me. I'm here. If you need to talk, come to me. I can talk. The final point I'm going to make is dead simple. The problem isn't achievement. You probably, if you could look at it from the right angle, you definitely, not probably, achieve more in one day than anyone else around you ever could. The issue is the interpretation of achievement. So you can change your interpretation. The way you talk to yourself is far more important than anything else. Try to understand, if you could take the way your mind works out of your mind and give that to someone who doesn't have that, you would see that human being fall to pieces, literally where they stand. The noise that comes into their head straight away, the impulse constantly to do, move, breathe, eat, anything. I'm going to call that there. That was particularly difficult, that last part. I'm going to call that the end of the video, and next week will be number 10, so that will be done. That video is titled Why ADHD Productivity Comes in Waves. You understand? So why it is sometimes you'll feel incredibly productive and other times you're just like a wobbly jelly on a plate. Thanks for taking the time to watch and putting up with me sounding like a whiny baby. See you on the next one.